Well, hello and welcome everybody to the Missing Lynx post-game podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Dukowitz, beat reporter for ZoneCoverage, and I cover the Minnesota Lynx and Minnesota Timberwolves with credentials. This is kind of a new setup here. We got the live going on TikTok. We're live on X and YouTube. Might notice the border is a little bit different. This is going to be the debut episode of the stream as a part of Hitting the Hardwood Network, and happy to be here. I did want to just, before I start off on the post-game show, just thank Mitch Hansen and Terry Horseman for welcoming me into this kind of business venture, I guess, and just to kind of pair with everybody to get some awesome Lynx coverage out there for people that, quite frankly, have really wanted it, especially audio or video format. Coverage of the team. It's been lacking for quite some time, I feel like, but we're finally starting to put some of it together here. So let's get into it. Minnesota Lynx beat the Chicago Sky today, 91-68, and it was a interesting game. Lynx, I don't think, started off very, very good, to be quite honest with everybody. I mean, they were outscored 24-18 in the first quarter. Really weird start. Offense was kind of all over the place. They had 4 turnovers in the first quarter. Fee went 0 for 2 and was scoreless in the first quarter. Courtney wasn't hitting shots. Really, the only thing offensively that seemed to be going right was Kayla McBride looked really good. Bridget Carlton hit a couple threes. But other than that, it was just a rough first quarter for the Lynx. On the other side of it, got out rebounded. Angel Reese and Cardosa were obviously a problem. Rachel Branham hit a 3, which I think Lynx fans are getting pretty sick of this season, even though we all love Rachel. But, something flipped about midway through the second quarter, and the game was just over, which it's been something I've kind of been talking about all season, of just the Lynx have had this weird tendency of not being able to really play a complete game, whether that's they play kind of subpar for 3 quarters and then 1 quarter they just pop off and the game is over, or whether it's they're just really struggling for a first quarter or a third quarter and let the team get back into it or hang around, and then kind of the same, it's just over when they decide it was, and that's what happened. I mean, you can look up and down the stat sheet. Sky scored 24 points in the first quarter. They scored 26 points in the second and third combined. Fourth quarter, they dropped 18, but it was not particularly good. It wasn't a strong 18, and a lot of it was in garbage time. Lynx had 4 turnovers in the first quarter. They had 4 the rest of the game. They forced the Sky into 21 turnovers and just did not let up at all. And once the Lynx kind of figured out how to beat this team, they just ran away with it. Now, to Chicago's credit, I guess, they did hang in there and kind of battle. It wasn't a complete blowout by halftime, but midway through the third, it was a 20-point game, and the Lynx never really looked back, which that's tough. Now, the Sky, they were without Ariel Atkins, which really, really hurts their playmaking. But, it's just kind of, you got to play with who's out there. And again, they just really looked rough at times. Haley Van Lith, bless her heart, 26 minutes, almost 27, really tried to kind of take the playmaking role and didn't do terrible, I guess, but also didn't do great. 2 turnovers. It looked like really the strength of the Lynx just getting in on defense, muscling in, overworking them with the physicality kind of bothered Van Lith. I mean, Angel had 9 turnovers, which tough. They tried running it through Angel quite a bit to start the game off. Didn't particularly go well running it through Angel, especially when she didn't have a whole lot of shooters around her, and the Lynx just immediately kind of collapsed on Angel Reese and just did not let up that pressure either. From the Lynx side, it was a pretty typical Lynx game. I mean, you kind of look at it and you got 20 assists on 31 makes, not their normal 78%, but still really good at sharing the ball. Fee ended up with 19 points. Again, she went 0 for 2 in the first quarter, then promptly finished 8 for 14. We did ask Cheryl about it after the game, and she said that she was a little annoyed with Fee's aggression in the first quarter, and then promptly made that annoyance known, and Fee turned on the Jets and certainly worked out. I mean, Fee was phenomenal in this game. Kayla McBride finishes with 19 as well. Terry Horseman of the Next noted that it was a her 5 inside the arc field goals was a season high for her. She's really kind of developed this weird scoop shot that is so uncharacteristic of Kayla McBride, because like Kayla McBride, you think about her shooting, it is so pure, it's so like perfect form, quick release, like can get it up over anybody. And then she has this scoop shot that just, like, to be honest, makes my eyes bleed at times. She's like off balance, off kilter, somehow flails an arm up and like it goes in. So it's great, but it's just a really weird addition to hers, to such a mechanically perfect game, to add this weird flip shot. Kind of going through the rest of the lineup, Bridget Carlton, little bit of a rebound game, 3 of 7 from 3 points. She did look a little bit more comfortable in that first quarter shooting threes, but then kind of struggled the rest of the game. And it's now to about a little over half a season where she's really struggling from 3. And, you know, she has the pedigree of being a good shooter. You got to think at some point it's going to turn around for her, but it's just starting to get to that point where she has to start hitting some shots. And I asked K-Mac about it after the game. Just what do you tell someone like Bridget? Like, she is a proven 3-point shooter. She is a really like solid volume 3-point shooter. Like, what do you say to her to get her out of these slumps? And K-Mac was like, we just keep telling her to have fun. Like, you know, as a shooter, you have this like unrealistic high expectation, and I'm paraphrasing K-Mac here, but you have this unrealistic high expectation that you're going to make these shots. And when those shots aren't going in, you feel like you're doing something wrong, and it sucks. I mean, her point was Bridget does so many good things. She is their best wing defender. She rebounds, she moves the ball. She's a solid like dribbler. She's like a really good basketball player. She's got to start having fun, and maybe that shot will start falling, which, you know, on the surface kind of sounds like, you know, yeah, okay. But honestly, I mean, Bridget can probably go into a practice and hit 33s in a row. I wouldn't even be surprised. I mean, these players in practice are phenomenal shooters. But then in a game time, if you've been seeing a miss, I mean, Bridget, I know from covering her for 2 years, is a pretty serious person. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets kind of down on herself. And when you're missing those shots, it just is just painful every time. So maybe a 3 of 7 3-point shooting night can turn into another 3 of 7 and another 3 of 7 and maybe a 5 for 6 night, and she can turn this around. But it's starting to get to that point for BC where, you know, it either has to happen or they're going to have to kind of figure out a different way to space with Bridget out there. Because Bridget, when her 3-point shot isn't falling, it just gets tough pretty quick for her offensive game. The last person I wanted to talk on, at least on like a positive note for the Lynx, Alana Smith is just awesome. I mean, it's not going to show up on the stat sheet. You look at it, 10 points, you know, 2 assists, had 4 rebounds. Like it doesn't look like a great game, but her ability to guard someone like Cardoso when she's giving up 4 inches of height is just unreal. And I was kind of thinking about it on my drive home of just what is it that Lan does? And I asked Cheryl about it first, of just like, what's Lan doing? Like, is it poking the ball away? Is it positioning? Like, what is it that she does? And Cheryl kind of said, you know, she hates to lose. Like, she gets positioned. She's really smart, studies game plans, all of those kind of typical things. And I was kind of mulling on that on my way home. And I think the best thing she does is just be really annoying. And what I mean by that is like a player like Cardoza, she shot 12 times tonight, right? And really only like 5 of those were like designed plays. So if you're Cardoza and you're getting on the block and you have 5 opportunities in 40 minutes where you're having a play run for you that gets inbounded on the block and you're going to like try and make something happen, and then Alana Smith just strips it, like that sucks. If you're Cardosa and the inbound pass comes and Land just does this weird spidery thing that she can do where she reaches over somebody and deflects the ball, and now like one of your 5 kind of moments to shine is just gone because Land is kind of annoying. Like that has to get annoying and get in your head as a game goes on, especially like Angel Reese, kind of similar. Like you're not getting a ton of post up touches for her. And Angel Reese in the post, like for all of the memes and everything, like is a really good player at getting to her shot and scoring. If Land just like blows that up because she strips the pass or she deflects it or she gets a leg in there or like kicks it, like that just is irritating. And I think that's a little undervalued of just how annoying it would be to play someone like Alana Smith, who you elbow in the face, she gets back up. You out rebound her and like come down on her back and she gets back up. And then when she is back up, she's just poking at the ball. She's constantly like a pest. She's really smart. Her positioning's like perfect. Like, I think that might be her superpower, is just to kind of be a really annoying, undersized center, which, you know, if you look at like the NBA side, Draymond Green's made a 15-year career off of being an like really annoying undersized center. So I think there's some backing to that, but I was really thinking about it of like, what does she really do? And it's just, she's really good at those intangible things. I am going to do a quick ad read here before we get into the Natisha Hiedeman injury and more of a preview of the Aces game coming up. And if you look over to, which way do I look on a live stream? This way. This is going to be terrible for audio and for audio listeners tomorrow, but we got all of our advertisers, our main advertisers, up on the stage right, stage left. Didn't take drama. Pence Homes is our first ad read, and they are a kind of founding sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood. Nate Pence runs this company. You may know him as the guy that sits courtside at Lynx games. He is a very delightful person, but he also is a realtor and does a wonderful job of helping people find homes. He is a very big advocate of making sure that people find the right homes. And you know, it's, I can say from experience, I've only bought one home, and that was one of the most nerve-wracking, frustrating experiences of my adult life. You know, you're nitpicking at every house you look at, and the houses you do like, you're trying to find reasons not to buy them. And to have someone in your corner like Nate or any of the people at Pence Homes, it's just kind of a calming factor. And the reason I can say that is, you know, he's a really good dude. Pence Homes, we do have all of their information up on our site, hittingthehardwood.com. If you do have any questions about it, I am also going to be pinning the contact for them underneath this on Spotify and Apple in the show notes. Okay, so Natisha Hiedeman, obviously that's kind of going to be the story of the game. Left ankle injury. It didn't look good when it happened. She, you know, and last play of the third quarter, when these things tend to happen the most, T kind of collapsed in a heap after getting into a scrum. I initially thought it was like a back or a hip because she walked off the floor pretty well. Like she wasn't limping really. She just looked really stiff. Like, you know, people my age that sneeze too hard, sometimes your back goes out. And that's what it looked like she was walking like. Now that being said, I came out a few minutes later that it was a left ankle injury. She wouldn't be returning. A few minutes after that, she did come back out to the bench and join the Lynx on the bench. I will say, you know, well, that's encouraging that she came out and sat with the Lynx on the bench. It also was not, it didn't look the best. I'll say that. She walked out on her own accord, sat at the end of the bench. She then did not get up the remainder of the fourth quarter that she was out there. She didn't celebrate after the game. She just went right back into the locker room. None of her teammates really went over there and were like hyping her up. We did ask K-Mac and Fee after the game, and they said that, T gave her a thumbs up and said she was good. So they say she's good. We asked Cheryl about it too, and Cheryl says that T always says she's good when she gets asked, that she'll be fine. So Cheryl's like, I will talk to the athletic trainer tomorrow and we'll get an actual diagnosis. But just optics wise, I mean, it looked like a pretty tough injury. She looked like she was obviously in a lot of pain. And then when she came back out onto the bench, she just was not moving. No standing, no cheering, just kind of sitting with her leg elevated with ice on it and not doing a whole lot, which that might be the story of this game. Is if T is injured for any considerable amount of time, I mean, even if it's a game or two, there just isn't the guard depth on this team. They have Courtney Williams, and that is the end of the list of like capable guards to run an offense. Kayla McBride obviously can do it in a pinch. She can get shots up, get to her spots. I think her and Fee have great chemistry. But if you're talking about a point guard to run the offense, it's probably not K-Mac that's going to be doing that, which is tough, right? It means that Courtney is going to have to shoulder a lot of the load. I mean, going down their bench, Jessica Shepard, you can run offense out of her. Fee, you can obviously run an offense out of, but somebody has to take the ball up, get that initial pick and roll, and then start that ball movement and kind of that play. And when you don't have T, your options are now insanely limited. I think the best bet would be hopefully T is okay and we can kind of continue on with the season and we can just put all this behind us. But again, the reaction to her on the bench just was different than past times that T or Court for that matter have gotten injured. And I mean, this Lynx post All-Star break schedule is going to be brutal. We've talked about it a couple times that in the first half of the season, they didn't really have a lot of measuring stick games to look at and say, how good is this team really? I mean, the second half of this season, it is all measuring stick games. They play, and I'm going to list them off here, so bear with me, but Friday they play the Aces. Next game, they play the Dream. They got the Liberty, the Aces again, the Storm, an easy one against the Mystics, before playing 3 straight against the Liberty, going to Atlanta, and playing back-to-back home and away against the Indiana Fever. Then they get Seattle again before they get a couple easy ones against Connecticut and Dallas. And then it's Aces, Fever, and Valkyries twice to close the season. I mean, that is a grueling stretch. I think, it's been a relatively, easy season so far. And Ben mentions here in the chat over on X here, with if T is out for a week or so, they would qualify for a hardship since they'd be down to 9 players, which you're 100% right. I think what's tough with the hardship contract is just who would you go out and get? I mean, obviously, Grace Berger played preseason with the Lynx and knows the system, so she might be a fit in, but is she someone that can come in on a hardship contract and play 15 minutes? I'm not sure. Olivia Pupa is out there. Honestly, I've been on the Olivia come back to Minnesota train all season, so Olivia maybe comes back. She knows the offense. Ben mentions Odyssey Sims comes to mind. She's as well knows the offense. Maybe she comes back, but it's not a list that inspires confidence, which again, Odyssey Sims is like a proven NBA player, but I think it would still be like a step down from what T's able to provide. We'll talk about this more. I do want to get into another ad read here, and this is the presenting sponsor for this podcast, The Missing Lynx, and it is Firehawk Construction. I will again drop the email and the contact for Firehawk Construction and remodeling in the show notes. But Firehawk Construction is run by a good friend of mine, Isaac Davis. He is a independent kind of contractor that decided years ago to start his own business, really because he wanted to just help people. And I can say, like, from firsthand experience, he has done just that. Whether it's, your water goes out and you need your basement dried out and maybe some drywall done, he's able to do that. Whether you and your wife decide that you're going to take out a closet and turn it into a half wall and get mostly through and then find out that the floorboards aren't secure, he does that. And if you need someone to make a beautiful deck for you, he also does that. The pitch that I always give when I'm referring Isaac or Firehawk to somebody is that he is a one-man crew and he does everything. He draws the plans. He can pull permits. He can draft. He can make like your vision come to life. And then on top of making that vision come to life, he also does all the work. So the person that you are telling what your dream is draws that, pulls all the permits, and then does it, whether it's plumbing, electric, or carpentry work. And he's phenomenal. Really good person, and I cannot refer anybody to him enough, whether it's finishing a basement, redoing cabinets, a bathroom that needs a makeover, or a deck outside or a garage. He really can do pretty much everything, and if it's not feasible, he will certainly tell you, because again, he understands the planning process. Again, his contact information, email and cell phone number will be in the show notes. Please give him a call if you want an estimate or you have any ideas of a project in your home. He does serve the North Metro in Minnesota. Okay, so coming back to it, Natisha Hiedeman, if she is injured, the Lynx do kind of have one more wild card that they have, if you will. Carly Samuelson's contract can be traded. It's a weird thing in the NBA, in the WNBA and the NBA for that matter, that you can trade an injured contract, which seems really sketchy, but like, Carly is away from the team rehabbing. No matter where she goes in the W, she'll be able to be away from the team in rehab. But the sketchiness of it aside, that leads the Lynx to kind of have $100,000 salary block that they can trade for someone. They also have $40,000+ in salary cap available that they could, yes, sign a veteran minimum or get a veteran's minimum and a hardship contract, but they could also use that contract to pair with Carly Samuelson and bring back like $140,000 player per se, which, that's not going to get you like an all-star starter, but it'll get you a solid rotation player. And I think that's where the Lynx have a little bit of wiggle room, is they have the ability to bring in an impact player. Now, prior to tonight, I was wondering if they were going to bring in more of like a wing player to help on those nights that BC doesn't have it going, or the nights where maybe Fee or K-Mac needs a little bit more of a breather, trying to bring in like a swing player. Honestly, someone like Carly Samuelson who can come in and just replace your starter, plug and play at 3 different positions. But if T is going to miss a week or two or even a month with an ankle sprain, I mean, point guard becomes the primary need for this team, whether it's a backup point guard that can also play 2 and you can kind of mix and match a little bit, but they do have the salary to do that. Now, the tricky part with that is in releasing Alyssa Peely, they don't really have an asset to pair with that salary. Obviously, they could pair like a Diamond Miller and send Diamond, Carly Samuelson's salary out and bring in 2 players or one player and kind of do it that way. But Diamond's value, I think, is still really low. Even though she's having a good shooting season, I don't think there's teams chomping at the bit to add a Diamond Miller, whether that's a playoff team that's looking to add like a scorer or something off the bench. I don't think they're looking at Diamond going, that is the missing piece. Or if it's a tanking team. I mean, Diamond didn't get picked in the expansion draft, and I would imagine her value is still pretty similar to that. So I don't think that's the answer. I mean, the rest of your bench, I mean, Masha doesn't really have a ton of value outside of Minnesota. Jessica, I think you could package, but are you going to get a better or backup big than Jessica Shepard? Probably not. I mean, you could package, but breaking up the stud buds at this point, I think would cause like a global riot, weirdly enough. So what's the move at that point? If it is a trade, what asset are you giving a team to take Carly Samuelson's money and you get a good player back? And that's where it gets really tricky, because the Lynx do own Chicago's first round pick outright, and that is going to be an asset. Having a top 5 pick in a season where you don't have a CBA, being able to draft a rookie with 4 years of control is going to be a really big asset. We also, I mean, I've heard weird rumblings that there might be some communication about changing the draft eligibility, which if they change the years required to get into the draft, does that mean like that pick could land you Juju next year? Like what could that pick be? I don't think you can in good faith trade that pick to get something back this year. Isabel, sorry, says on X, not Twitter. I might just call it Twitter forever. Says on Twitter, a 2027 pick. That's where my head goes. And I think every pick past that CBA is going to have value. Because I mean, objectively, you could look at a 2027 Lynx pick and kind of scoff and say, why would we give you a like starter caliber guard for a 2027 pick? But we don't know what that CBA is going to be. So is 2027 going to be the effective date of players being able to go pro after their freshman year, where they match the NBA? I mean, if that's the case, that pick is going to be huge, because you're basically getting 3 draft classes in one. Is the new CBA going to expand salary cap but not really touch the rookie scales? I mean, if that's the case, having a rookie caliber, like a rookie salary player, an extra one of them, and having more money to throw at a star, that's going to be huge. So I think that pick is going to have value. Maybe that's the play. I think the hard part with that is, who's out there and what needs do you go after? I think it's pretty obvious that with Jonquel Jones coming back and Emma going to New York, you need size. At this point, they need size. I don't have a lot of confidence that a 7-game series against New York is going to go well with how undersized this Lynx team is going to be against them. So I think they need a big. I think there's also a really good argument to getting a swing, like a small forward shooting guard hybrid in here to relieve, K-Mac on off nights or BC on off nights and just give them roster flexibility. They also might be in desperate straits for a point guard. So I all of that is to say the next, week and a half, I think are going to be kind of wild for the Lynx. I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and get 2 players. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and pull off like a haymaker swing for a trade. It's really going to just be interesting, because this roster that we looked at the beginning of the season and in training camp, we went, holy cow, how are they going to even figure out how to fit all of these players on a team? Now just looks really shallow. I mean, they have 8 players that they can play. Ola, unfortunately, isn't to that point yet. And of those 8 players, I mean, Masha and Diamond have been really in and out of the rotation for most of the year. That's tough. I'm not sure what the answer would be. I am going to just at the end of the pod here shout out Hitting the Hardwood again for this partnership. And then after that, I would love if anyone has any questions in the comments, whether it be on TikTok, YouTube, or X. I'd love to take a couple seconds to answer some questions. And if not, I will be doing this again Friday after that lovely game against the Aces, which does start a little bit earlier, which is actually really nice. But Hitting the Hardwood, did want to give them one more shout out. Just phenomenal to be a part of a podcast network that is completely Lynx focused. For people that don't know what Hitting the Hardwood is, it was founded by Mitch Hansen of Canis Hoopus a while back. Honestly, he's been doing podcasts for quite some time, and he is, in my opinion, one of the best Lynx beat reporters out there. He is honestly the Twitter account I go to if I'm feeling like I missed something. He's where I go to catch up. And the other person on this team is Terry Horseman, who has been on the Lynx beat for, I believe this is his 4th season from the Next. He has done everything from interviewing Simone Augustus on his podcast to, being there every day like I am. And it's just really cool to be on a team that has 2 people that are in the writer's room with you and also really care about promoting the WNBA. For people who are interested, Hitting the Hardwood is Mitch Hansen's podcast. It is on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you find your podcasts. And Terry Horseman hosts Lynx Happy Hour. I believe he just put out a podcast with the Star Tribune's Kent Youngbloods facilitator for at least the next 2 months, Shelby Swanson, who is an awesome up-and-coming journalist in kind of the media sphere. But those are the 2 pods on the network with me. So happy to be here with them. And with that, I will say, any questions out there from fans that would like to ask Lynx related, I know I've gotten a couple on TikTok that are Wolves related. Unfortunately, you can send me a DM. I will answer it there, but this is all Lynx centric. The one thing I will add, maybe to close here, is the Lynx, they have strung together quite a few wins. They really took care of that first half of their schedule. But what makes me kind of nervous coming into this end stretch of their schedule is just, they're playing good team after good team after good team after good team. The Liberty, they play 4 times. It's going to be a slog. And what I would say for Lynx fans that are looking at the schedule of like, holy cow, we could lose in this, we could really fall in the standings. What I would just say is, yes, the Lynx are probably going to lose some of these games. I think it's a little frustrating that all of the Mercury games has passed, and that is the team that is going to be chasing them in the West. But my expectation on the Lynx is that they do split most of these series, whether it's splitting 2-2 against New York, whether it's going 1-1 against Indiana, whether it's splitting 1-1 the last 2 dream games. And they do have some easier wins. Connecticut, Washington, 2 against Golden State. Like it's not like this is going to be every single game is tough, but I would caution fans. We're probably going to see some losses coming up, and that's okay. Losses, quite frankly, are not the worst things. They can really give you information about how your team is going to perform in the playoffs. And for me, I think the benefit of that is they play those 3 straight against New York. And I think you're going to get a really good look into what this playoff matchup is going to look like into the future and what adjustments each team has. Because New York, I think, is going to have a similar narrative to last season where they're kind of the front runners. They're the super team. They're the team with Sabs, Cloud, Stewart, John Kell. Now add Emma into it. They have a super team. Now, the Lynx are going to have the same mantra as last season of we're the team. We're the team that has 78% of made baskets on assists. We're the best defense in the league. We're the more disciplined team. And getting that preview kind of back to back to back, I think is going to be illuminating for where the Lynx stand next to the Liberty and what adjustments they have. It's going to be tough, but I would much rather have kind of stretches like that where you can see what a series would look like versus if they played them once every month, because then injuries happen. You don't know what's going on. Sometimes you go through a weird shooting slump. Like if you're getting just game after game after game, you can really see what your team is going to do and what the opposing team can adjust to, which I mean, I'll be honest, I still think that's the finals preview, regardless of the T injury, regardless of what trade they do. I think the Lynx and the Liberty are by far and away the best two teams. I know power ranking gods on other sites have, Atlanta, Indiana, and Phoenix a little closer, but to me, it's still Liberty Lynx just by far and away better. With that, I am going to say adieu for the night, though, at 11:30 p.m. Thank you for all of you crazy people that are up here listening to me. Between TikTok and X, it looks like and YouTube, we got almost 300 people that have come by and checked out the live. So I appreciate all of you. Last little bit of bookkeeping. This is going to be published as a podcast at 7 a.m. Central Time tomorrow across Apple and Spotify. So if you are interested in listening to this the next day, if you only caught the last minute of it and you're like, shucks, I could really listen to this guy do bad ad reads, they will live on forever on multiple websites that you can catch just by searching the Missing Lynx Podcast. It is going to be pretty much everywhere on my socials the next couple days, just to promote it and get people to more accustomed to where I'm going to be. But just to reiterate, this is going to be remaining the same pod. It'll be after every Lynx game, home or away. As soon as I get done with media stuff, we will go live. And just like always, until the next pod, go Lynx. And I hope all of you have a lovely evening.